You know, many people hear the term, central casting, and they're just completely, just lost with what it even is, right? And central casting has been something I've been well familiar of for a very long time, just without the technical label or term for it, right? And what is it? It's casting, it's actors, right? And there's so many of them, so many of them. Casting. It's the red flag attacks. It's the staged events. Sandy Hook. It's all the actors that are involved that keep popping up in all these major events. The Boston Marathon bombing. There's so many of the same actors that just happen to lose a loved one or just happen to show up, and it's too many coincidences. Too many quinkydinks to not see through the bullshit, right? If you pay attention, if you have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the actual will to want the truth. Because a lot of people don't, they say they want the truth, but the truth is not pretty. The truth is ugly. The truth is, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Disgusting. What's being discussed in the files, right? Something that's not so much talked about that comes up in the files is that, it said that that Biden was taken out, right, in Guantanamo, right, executed, military tribunal, right, not a court system that you would find in our courts, because what our court systems are a mockery to begin with. It's maritime law, not law of the land. It's law of the sea, and we're all dead, lost at sea, right? But when I first heard that, it's believable, yes, right? But what makes it even more believable to me was, it was a couple years ago, I had someone that told me that Hillary also went through her own tribunals and was also taken out along multiple years ago. And when I heard that, it was like, I consider myself pretty on top of stuff. So it's like, how have I not heard of this? You know what I mean? But he had, personal insider information. He had a personal connection to someone that told him what was going on. And at the time, I had no reason to not believe him, but I guess I didn't pay too much attention to that, which raises a whole many other questions, right? So in the release of the files, Hillary, evil. I've always known her to be an evil woman, but to the extent, what comes out, you hear about the victims talking about how, you'd almost, well, it doesn't matter. They go on the hunting trips, right, with Bill and Hillary, right? And they didn't know which one would be worse, because if Bill got you, they're going to degrade you and they're going to, fuck you up mentally. If Hillary got you, you weren't coming back from that. The stories that are being told about, the way they show taking off kids' faces and putting it on her own. And, how do they get the adrenochrome? It's fear. It's fear that goes into the blood, but that's, it's the adrenochrome that they love, that they thrive on, right? The red drink. But what else? All the adrenochrome factories are being shut down. Putin just, captured a big one of them. They're capturing the shipments of it. It's being shut down. They're losing their supply, right? They're losing the supplies that they had prepared, but then they're losing, I've seen videos of, port workers refusing to work because they hear the screams. You think that's new? It's been going on for a long time. Either people are paid off to remain silent, or it just, even given to the proper authorities, and what do? They give it up to their chain of command, to their chain of command, to their chain of command. All the chains of command are fucked. They're corrupt. They're fucked. Chain of command? Who's their chain of command? Who do they follow? They're not following the man upstairs. They're following the man downstairs. That's where they take their orders from. Evilness. The pure evilness. Pure evilness that's being revealed in those files, But the central casting, right? So if Hillary was also taken out, in tribunals, who is this person now? Who is this person masquerading? Is it a clone? Is it a central caster? Someone wearing a mask? Who is it? Who are these people? Okay, the people that took them out, are they now like controlling like the puppet? Like who are controlling these people that their obituary says that they're no longer here? It says it. So who the fuck are these people masquerading as them still? And not even that, it's who do we hold accountable? When we know these people were taken out, and then it was but why do they? That's been happening for a long time, taking out the wealthy, right? But they take out wealthy, and then before it's even realized, people will hire a central caster to pretend to be them, so that they can siphon money out of funds or whatever accounts that they might have. It's bullshit all around. In every form, in every aspect, in every venue, everywhere. The corruption runs so fucking deep. But it's been unchecked. What would you expect? Of course it runs deep. Of course. The interesting part though, that move that Pam Bondi pulled, when she gave everyone access to the list, right? But on their controlled computers, and so they had to log in, and it was they tracked who logged in and who they were searching for, and by who they were searching for, they were able to determine who they're trying to protect. Oh, they're searching for this person. They're seeing if this person is in there. They're trying to cover their tracks. And very wise, very smart. It's clever. But it's the things that are the moves that Trump's making that still don't even make sense to people that are pretty aware of a lot, just because I don't have all the information. But none of us do. But it's funny too, is the ones that think that they have all the information, you probably don't have jack shit. Your level of comprehension is probably very minimal. You're only looking at things from surface level. You're only looking at things from a 3D level. You're only looking at things, physically, not spiritually, not any other aspect, which is a lot of big parts of things that are going to be revealed too. It's all a matter of time. But it's the actors. It's everything is a stage. Everything is a stage. It's all these people, they grew up in the same communities, the same groups, same communities, but it's indoctrination. It's the who do you know, and the sororities and the fraternities that you join, and the people that you shake hands with, and it's not even about what you can do. It's not about what you have to offer. It's interesting too. It is what you have to offer, but not to the people that you pledge allegiance to. It's to the people that you make deals with behind closed doors. That's the sad reality of it. And what's funny about that is the first person I ever voted for, Ron Paul, and he pops up in the Epstein files too. You know why he pops up? He pops up because they're talking shit about him. They're saying he's a problem. He is the problem. You know what would have made him what would have made all this shit go away? If people stopped labeling him as a crazy person, and people actually believed him, if people actually trusted him, and people actually looked into the things that man spoke on. Because guess what? The shit he spoke about 20 years ago, hey, guess what? It's happening now. It's happening. So is he really that crazy? Things I've been speaking about for a long time. It's all coming true now. Am I really that crazy? Maybe you're the crazy one for feeding into the system. Just a thought. Just a thought. Some food for thought. Hope you enjoyed my lunch break.